The fact is, good crypto coins don't always have to be very expensive. Some of the most promising projects out there are trading at the moment under $1. I'm going to be breaking down 4 altcoin projects, 4 very solid altcoins, all of whose tokens are under $1, that, if they're not already, should definitely be on your 2025 crypto radar. And because all of these are quality projects, as they build more and more momentum, we definitely see them crossing that $1 mark eventually. Just remember that price alone doesn't tell the full story. You have to look at all the fundamentals. You have to do an analysis of the circulating supply, the total supply, the market cap, of course. But in these 4 cases, we have a lot of momentum and a lot of positivity behind each of these altcoin projects. Welcome to the channel. My name is Maddie and this is Altcoin Buzz. All the best of luck if you choose to invest. I genuinely wish you well. Just remember that I'm not a financial or investment advisor, nor is this video official financial or investment advice. All right, at number 1 here, we're kicking off with Cronos and CRO, the native token of Crypto.com's Cronos chain. And it's had an unbelievable run here. CRO is trading, as I record, at what do we call that? Just under 28 cents, I suppose. And the crazy part is that it's up over 76% in just the last week, in the last 7 days. Obviously, this is more than just a small bounce, and there's a lot to break down here. There's a lot contributing to this pump. It's hard to believe that we're already in September, but looking back at the month of August, that was basically the month of CRO, thanks to one headline in particular that shook the market. Trump Media Group announced a $6.42 billion CRO strategy. Yes, that's massive news. It's also a huge amount. And CRO, therefore, is set to become the platform token of Truth Social as part of this strategic partnership. And the structure here is massive. We have $1 billion in CRO tokens, cash, and warrants, plus a $5 billion credit line from Yorkville. And the crazy part here is that purportedly, as far as we've been told, Donald Trump himself has chosen CRO to be at the center of this treasury strategy. So if you think about that, it means the political world is very much colliding with the crypto world and CRO at that intersection point. So obviously that's massive news. That's very, very positive. But there was actually more happening for Crypto.com. They recently announced that Emirates Airlines and Dubai Duty Free are soon going to be accepting digital assets through their platform, which is pretty big for mainstream adoption in terms of global travel. You could think of this in terms of maybe buying your next flight ticket with cryptocurrency if you want. That is basically the kind of visibility projects like CRO need. And then in terms of the ecosystem here, unlike Solana or Ethereum, that's where meme coins are taking up a lot of space actually, Cronos doesn't have a dominant meme, so we see potential there for that reason. Personally, that's why I see this not just as a pump, but as the start of something bigger. We're still not in all-time high territory, but this is looking like we may hit a new high bar eventually, sooner rather than later perhaps. You've got Trump and Crypto.com aligned in a multi-billion-dollar play. And in terms of potential, I could see CRO doing a 2x, a 3x from here if the momentum continues. Again, for context, the previous all-time high was kind of just below $1. We didn't really quite hit $1. It was in the mid-90s range. But with the Trump narrative, we could actually do very well and go well beyond that in this next leg of the bull run. Next up, and at number 2, we're looking at Cardano and ADA, of course, which is no stranger to the spotlight. It's been a top 10 project by market cap really for years. It happens to be out of the top 10 right now as I record at number 11. But it's kind of in and out of that select group, but it is still delivering quite a lot of new milestones. It's currently trading at just below 82 cents right now with a just under $30 billion market cap. And if we look back at the month of August, what's very impressive is that Cardano hit 112 million transactions, while simultaneously keeping its fees dirt cheap at under 25 cents. That represents pragmatic and very real-world scalability. August also brought some big updates for Cardano. I think it's safe to say the most notable one was the Midnight Glacier airdrop that went live, and this added a lot of fresh utility to the ecosystem. But then again, arguably, perhaps the most important move is governance, because Cardano held its first ever governance vote, and they approved a $71 million roadmap funded by 96 million ADA. And that's a big deal. That's not some small-scale governance experiment. It shows that Cardano's decentralized decision-making is working and that the community is involved. They're backing the project financially in order to keep building. Charles Hoskinson, the very outspoken founder, of course, of Cardano, has been hinting at partnerships with Aave, Chainlink, and USD-pegged stablecoins. If those integrations land, if they happen, it's going to further open Cardano up to a whole new level of DeFi adoption. So what's the growth outlook for ADA? Because as a token, it has been a slower, steadier project, I think it's fair to say. But when it makes a move, those moves tend to be big. I'd say a realistic upside is anywhere from 2 to 4x, especially if they pull off some of those integrations. And of course, Cardano already has that staying power to remain a top 10 or near top 10 coin. I think that's going to remain the case for the long term. Next up, and at number 3 on this list, is ONDO Finance, ONDO. If you've been ignoring this one, you very likely are probably sleeping on one of the hottest narratives in crypto, that being, of course, RWAs, or real world assets. ONDO right now is trading at just above 89 cents with a $2.82 billion market cap. Here's why it's making waves. ONDO is not just another DeFi project. It is literally building the bridge that is effectively connecting TradFi, traditional finance, and blockchain. And then as far as the biggest headline out there, we have none other than JP Morgan, who have partnered with ONDO. That's the largest bank in the United States. They're working directly with ONDO in order to make tokenized financial products accessible worldwide. That is definitive institutional validation at the highest level. There's no other way to categorize that. As a result, whales are noticing. No surprise. One whale in particular scooped up 1.35 million ONDO, worth about $1.26 million in just one buy. And then another whale dropped over $1 million. And so this is anecdotal, I guess, fair. But when big money is starting to pile on, you know there's something brewing behind the scenes. At least that's very, very likely. But probably what's most exciting is still yet to come. That is ONDO Global Markets, which is launching very soon, in a couple of days, on the 3rd of September. At the time of this recording, that is just 2 days away. It's a big deal because it's a platform that's going to give investors across over 100 countries access to high-quality United States assets. So if you think about the size of this opportunity in particular, for context, the United States Treasury market alone, that's worth $27 trillion. Not million, not billion, $27 trillion. So as a bit of a thought experiment, if ONDO were to capture, let's say, only 0.1% of that market, the upside would still be absolutely massive. So that's exactly why ONDO is being positioned right now as the leader in the RWA narrative. And narratives drive bull markets. Historically, that's always been the case. So if we extrapolate and if we look at where the trend is likely to continue, I would say that ONDO does a 3x, maybe a 4x, maybe a 5x in the next cycle, maybe even higher if it truly becomes the go-to name in terms of tokenized finance. But with these kinds of partnerships, that is looking more and more probable. At number 4, last but not least on this list, I want to talk about PYTH. PYTH. It's one of the most exciting Oracle projects out there other than Chainlink. Right now, PYTH is priced at about 16.5 cents with a $960 million market cap. So that's under $1 billion. Recently, it's been doing very, very well, up over 42% in the last 7 days. And this was triggered in part by the United States Department of Commerce, which made a groundbreaking announcement. They partnered with Chainlink and PYTH to publish official U.S. macroeconomic data, so things like GDP, all of this directly on chain. Now, of course, that's a massive step. GDP, or gross domestic product, is one of the most important indicators of national economic health. And now it's being fed directly straight into blockchain ecosystems in a very transparent and, probably more importantly, tamper-proof way. The market reaction was instant. PYTH's trading volume exploded by over 3,000% in a single day, hitting almost $875 million, and its market cap spiked by 56%. This is all very important because reliable data is the backbone of DeFi and tokenized assets. Really everything from stablecoins to bond tokens to perpetual futures, all of these things rely on trusted oracles. And now the US government itself is choosing PYTH as one of those providers. So this is a major vote of confidence. And then on top of that, PYTH is already integrated with over 100 blockchains and over 600 apps. There's also staking available, which could qualify users for the Solana ecosystem airdrops, which is an extra incentive for holding if you're not already doing so. So look, if adoption continues at this pace, PYTH, again, PYTH, definitely has room to do a 4x, 5x, maybe a 6x. And that's especially true if the trend continues and governments and financial institutions continue to lean more on-chain for things like data transparency. PYTH definitely has potential to stand out in the Oracle world and give a healthy sense of competition to Chainlink. At the end of the day, that's going to be good for both projects.